So next up, we are joined by Executive Director Renou from Bindi Metals with the ticker code BIM, a company focused on their rare earths and niobium project in Canada. Good afternoon, Henry.
Well, Jane, how are you?
Wonderful. Let me bring up your presentation.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for tuning in today. I'm Henry Renou, as Jane said, the Executive Director at Bindi Metals, and today I'm going to be discussing the Schryburt Lake Rare Earth and Niobium project. So this is Bindi at a glance. We listed in June last year with a cash balance of 2.7 million, 32 million shares on issue. Our share price ranges from the 18 to 20 cent mark, and we're well funded for ongoing exploration at Schryburt Lake. So onto the overview of Schryburt Lake. We recently announced the acquisition of the 100% owned project. The project is located in Ontario, which is a Tier 1 exploration and mining jurisdiction with major producers nearby. The project is also well located to extensive infrastructure with Newmont's Musselwhite gold mine only 20 kilometres to the east, and Pickle Lake, which is a major regional centre only 100 kilometres to the south. And both these areas are accessible by the Trans-Canadian Highway, and the project has year-round access. So the project is located in world-class terrain with a number of deposits under development and in production, including the huge Niobium deposit in Quebec, as you can see there on the figure on the right. And nearby to Schryburt, the Hecla-Kilmer deposit is recorded up to 460 metres at almost 1% rare earths, and is just to the east of Schryburt Lake. So the terrain is highly prospective for carbonatite-hosted rare earth and niobium deposits, with the largest of these, the Niobium deposit, in production and currently supplying 10% of the world's niobium. It's also important to note that Canada has over 1/3 of the world's rare earth resources, and importantly, the Canadian government has prioritised exploration and development of critical minerals to position the country as a major supplier. And to do this, it is allocated over $4 billion in the 2022 budget. So moving on to results now, we recently completed our first pass mapping and sampling program, and we have identified 3 walk-up drill targets. These are Blue Jay, Starling, and Goldfinch, with Blue Jay a new discovery by Bindi. At Blue Jay, assays returned up to 3.7% rare earths and 0.7% niobium from 110 by 80 metre area of outcropping greater than 2% rare earths. At Blue Jay, this high-grade zone of Blue Jay is hosted on a 2.8 kilometre concentric magnetic low, and we've interpreted this as a late-stage mineralised dike within the carbonatite complex. Like Blue Jay, the Starling prospect has historic rare earths up to 5.7%, and is hosted on a 1 kilometre concentric magnetic low, just to the south of Starling, and is also interpreted as a late-stage mineralised dike. It's important to note that these rare earth rich zones are associated with magnetic lows, while at the Goldfinch prospect, niobium mineralisation is hosted along a 1.5 kilometre north-south magnetic high within the carbonatite. This prospect has grades of up to 1.8% niobium, at surface with rare earths up to 0.3%. It's also important to note that Goldfinch has a high NdPr ratio at 25% on average, and also high-grade scandium up to 130 ppm. And both these rare earth elements are high value within the rare earth suite. So we've identified 3 high-priority walk-up drill targets, and we're gearing up to test these in the summer season in Canada. So moving on to the Schryburt Lake exploration strategy, we've developed our exploration model using the Niobium analogue with great success to date. Using the shared magnetic characteristics of these carbonatite-hosted systems, we can see that the rare earth deposit at Niobium is hosted on a magnetic low, and is interpreted as a late-stage intrusion or dike, while the niobium deposit at Niobium is hosted on a magnetic high and is interpreted as an earlier stage event to the rare earth deposit. Now, when looking at Schryburt Lake, we can see that the rare earth-rich Blue Jay and Starling prospects are hosted in magnetic lows, while the niobium-rich goldfinch prospect is located on a magnetic high. So we can see the similarities in the magnetic lows and rare earth mineralization and the magnetic highs and niobium mineralization at Schryburt Lake, and this compares well to the Niobec deposits. So we believe that the Schryburt Lake carbonatite is a highly prospective system for rare earths and niobium, and our exploration model is really driving success on the project. And we hope that there's more discoveries to come. So our exploration program is well underway in the summer season. We've recently completed our first pass mapping program and released those results to the market. As you can see, the figure there on the right, up to 3.6% rare earths and 0.5% niobium. And that photo is taken from the Blue Jay prospect. We've also completed magnetics and radiometrics and hyperspectral survey on the project, and we're planning to release those results shortly. And now we've moved on to drill permitting, leading into our maiden drill program in August, September. So that brings us to an end of our presentation, a fairly short one, but if you can please follow our news releases at the Bindi website, and thank you, and any questions.
Henry, that was a great presentation. I'm going to jump into some questions which you did actually cover, but just to reiterate, so what is the anticipated drilling window, and when are rigs secured, or are you waiting for necessary approvals?
Yes, so we're just finalising drill contracts at the moment. We're in progress with First Nations negotiations on access agreements. That's progressing pretty well, and we expect to have that finalised fairly shortly. So those First Nations agreements are required for the drill permit, and we submitted the drill permit essentially when we acquired the project. So we're expecting it pretty shortly, and we're looking forward to getting into the program.
Thank you. And another one that's probably a little bit premature, but what are the lab turnaround times at the moment for assays?
Well, in Canada, it's actually excellent. So the turnaround time is 1 to 2 weeks for our project currently. And we expect, with drill programs, we should receive results and report them within a month. So a bit different to Australia, but certainly good news for us.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, lots of news flow coming up, so exciting times. But thank you so much for joining us today. And again, a copy of today's recording will be available online in the coming days. But thanks, Henry.
Thanks, Jan.